What's going on, fellow Boosthetic fans? Welcome back to the channel. I want to thank you and everyone so much for coming back and checking out my channel, subscribing to the new content that I've been putting out, and to continue to support me by watching videos and subscribing. Today we have a 562 XP top housing, top cover, whatever you want to call it. Every single saw that I do, the ones that are muffler mod especially, always get this modification. So if you're gonna do a muffler mod, you have to do this. And if you don't, you're gonna be sorry, and I'm gonna tell you later in the video why. All right, so let's get started. So we're pretty much just gonna take this is HVAC tape. This is aluminum like tape. It's pretty thin. It's not very thick. It's meant for sealing HVAC tubing and pretty much home forced air circulation, like all the tubing and stuff. It pretty much goes around it just to secure it and make it airtight. But this has really good anti-melt properties because it pretty much is a metal tape. So what we're gonna do here is just roughly measure. Now we're gonna want to cover this, so we're gonna go all to the edge here. And now it has a weird angle, so you kind of have to give yourself more on each side. And a little waste is not a big deal when it comes to doing something like this. So we roughly just kind of gauge and measure how much we're gonna need, and then we just make our marks. Finish this up, cut, and be good. Yeah. All right, now we got a rough idea. Now this is going to be a little bit tricky because I'm going to have to go over this and push down, and it's going to, I'm going to have to pretty much go over these so I can get these. These are there for strength and rigidity in the cover. If I were to Dremel these down or take these and file them down into nothing, this would be super weak and it would probably crack right here. The reason it's there is because one of the latches is there, and that's where you secure the saw to. If you look, there's also kind of reinforcement on the insides where the other latches goes as well, but they're just different. They're like humps instead of channels. So, all right, we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna get this cleaned off. One thing I'm gonna recommend, always prep surfaces before you do any sort of painting or adhesion. So we're going to take some just Q-tips with 90% rubbing alcohol on them and just clean the top cover off. We're going to get all the extra adhesive that's on there from the old tape that was previously applied that started to just rip, and over time it got just degraded. So I usually put 2 or 3 layers of tape on just to keep the heat away from the front of the plastic. If you do a muffler mod, you're going to have more air flowing through the saw. You're going to generate, more velocity of air coming out that exhaust, so it's going to make your saw run cooler, yes, but you're also going to that exhaust port is probably going to get warmer if you have internal work done, like where it's actually a straight shot out to the exhaust instead of baffled. So all right, we almost got this all cleaned up. Just trying to get all the goo off. You can use Goo Gone too, that works really well, but you just want a really good adhesion. Really what you want, just nice and clean. That's pretty good. So now we're going to take our tape, peel the back end off of it, and we're going to line this up. Now remember, we're going to have more on each side. This is kind of tricky to line up, and you're probably not going to get it on the first shot. But if you've done this a couple times, like you can tell I have, it goes really, really smoothly. Start with your corners. It's almost like wrapping a car with vinyl wrap. That's probably the easiest thing I could compare it to. Pretty much just want to go slow and get all your bubbles out. Just use your thumb to massage all the air out of the pockets. You know what? Excuse me, I got some respiratory stuff going on right now. My family and I have been dealing with some health issues, so I apologize if you can't hear me very well. I figured I would go ahead and address that because my voice is not very great at the moment. All right, so we're just gonna pretty much keep pushing the tape with our fingers and rubbing it into the corners. Getting all them lines out the best that we can. It ain't gotta be perfect, but it's just gotta protect the plastic from the extra heat that's gonna be there, so. And realistically, you only probably need an inch covered, but I like to have an extra because the 5 series mufflers are so long. They're not really wide and short like a lot of the 4 series and 3 series mufflers are. But I recommend doing this on pretty much any saw that you do a muffler mod on. Even if you don't do a muffler mod on it, I've seen OEM saws that have this type of shielding on there from the factory. So if it's coming from the factory like that, you know that, you know, it's probably a good idea that it's there, and there's a reason probably for it being there. Melted plastics really isn't anything to be ashamed about. It's more or less something like your saw is either running, it's ported and running more efficiently and more heat's getting out of the engine, or it's just the muffler, the deflector probably is bent downward and it's not, or too far upwards, and it needs to just be pushed back down a little bit. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and cut all the extra trim off of this. Just do it from the outside. There we go. Finish this up here. Pretty much push it into the hole and then you just cut it out. Like I said, it ain't got to be perfect. Nothing's perfect. No one's perfect in this world. I'm far from it. Working on becoming a better person every day. So all you can do is try to be a better person and be kind. Buck and Billy Ray taught me that. Big shout out to Buck and Billy Ray. Buckin', if you see this video, or Hogan, huge fans. Keep doing what you guys do. Love it. Absolutely love it, guys. Huge shout out goes to Guilty of Treason to Jacob, man. Like, I've learned so much from your channels and so much from your content. Like, amazing. Another great one. Tin Man Saws. Check his channel out if you haven't yet. Awesome stuff. Great saw builder. Very friendly guy. Just great content. And if you guys haven't seen the show Axemen on E, Hogan and Buck and Billy Ray are actually on that on one of the seasons as well. It's pretty cool. I was watching it with my kids the other day, and my 3-year-old actually goes, "Hey, is that the guy you watch on YouTube?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you're pretty smart, bud." So maybe someday he'll be running the power saws and letting them eat. Alright, so that looks pretty good. The only spot I'm concerned about is getting that front little lip, because that's exposed. So we're gonna go ahead and cut another strip, and we're gonna get that. And I'm probably gonna finish up the corner right here too. So now I just do all this roughly from eye and measurement. I don't really take too many measurements when it comes to this stuff. There's really not a science behind it. You just got to get it put on there. So, all right. So this I'm actually going to re-stick to the plastic backing. We're going to take this and I'm going to use it. So the outsides of my straight edge. I'm going to go on the inside. I'm going to cut a strip out that I can use to reinforce that front section. But it's not going to be straight, so I'm not going to want to use this side. I'm going to want to use this side towards the outside of the case, and then the uneven part towards the inside to get that nice clean line. So even if it comes out a little bit and tucks over, I'm okay with that. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. Same thing, just rub it with your finger, get all the spots off, and I'm going to use the rest of this in stripping for the front part of just the case, because that's where it's going to see all the heat from the muffler. So this saw has a muffler mod that I did personally myself. Everyone does them differently. I just opened up the inside of it where the baffle is, and I still have the deflector that's in the middle, but there's a lot bigger opening than there was. The first opening was probably the diameter of this, and then after it got done, it was probably close to the diameter of a water bottle, but just a little bit smaller. The bigger one I left alone, the smaller one I opened up significantly. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and trim all the extra off here. All right. So now I'll lay like 1 or 2 more strips. Might just do this whole one, just to give us enough right in the front. Yeah, let's just do the whole, about 1.5 inch thick strip. So like I said, this is gonna be my straight edge. This side's gonna be the cut edge, so straight edge out. Now the goal here is really just to get a good barrier between the heat and the plastics. Because let's be honest, they don't agree with each other, is the best way I can put it. So we're just gonna massage all the bubbles out. We're not gonna want to push too hard on these because that's gonna break it. But right now we're pretty much changing the airflow within the top of the cover in the beginning to allow for just more smoother, less disrupted air. Because if you guys don't know Husqvarna's, I'm sure many of you do, Husqvarna fans, they use the flywheel for cooling, so they're constantly, pretty much like a turbocharger, is spooling air up on the side to cool the engine and keep the fins cool on the engine. Alright, so we'll just finish trimming up the rest of that, and I think we're pretty much done. We can go put it back on the saw. Looks good to me. We're just going to do this one little spot here. Scissors would probably work better for some of this stuff, but X-Acto knife always works great for stuff. Like I said, the outsides of these pieces of tape are the straight edges, so I don't really have to worry too much about cutting it crooked. You just put your cut in the inside and you're good. Just put a little square there. And we'll make sure that corner isn't folded over. Yeah, the corner got a little folded. Pull the fold out the corner. Push it back down and just get it back on there. Good to go. I'm not gonna worry about that little spot or like in between there. That's not the main thing is right here on the edge. So just gonna get around that circle a little bit, and I'm gonna remove all the extra heat material. That way it sits nice and flush on the case. Over just to make sure it's on there good, but this is going to last for a very long time. The adhesive is pretty good on these, and especially when you stack multiple layers up like I tried to do, you get a pretty good strong product. Now this doesn't really add much weight to the saw. I wouldn't really notice the difference if you handed one of these upside down and I had to pick what one had the tape and what one didn't. Really wouldn't be able to tell you. It's something that a gram or two, you're not going to notice it on your saw. very insignificant, and this will save you from melting the top cover. If you have a muffler mod, or you add an extra port to your muffler, or you decide to port your saw, or anything like that. Brake flags tend to melt, especially if they're left forward, at the forward to most position when they're tripped. So try not to leave your brake on if you're not using your saw for more than 5 minutes. Just shut it off, don't let it idle. You're just gonna burn up your plastics. But all right, let's go get the saw and we'll get it on there. Without further ado, 562 XP. Sorry for that. The tripod moved a little bit. Heat tape, top cover. Oh yeah. If you noticed on this saw, I actually have the brake deflector done as well. Heat tape all underneath the brake deflector, because this one moves more exhaust gases than normal. And if you see here, if I trip the flag, you can see how far forward that it is on the muffler. That if you look under here, that it's pretty much just going to be melting if it's just going to be idling if you got a ported muffler. So I don't have port work done right in the exhaust port. On the exit port, I got internal port work on this muffler done and baffle work done. But yeah, this is my 562 XP. Thank you everyone for checking out my channel. Thank you all for the views. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe this video. I really need everyone's help to get monetized. That's been a goal of mine for the last couple months, and I've been working very hard on this channel to get it to where I want it to be. Eventually I will be doing video editing, but for right now, all my streams and everything will just be raw. If anyone knows how to do video editing and wants pretty much to help out, get a hold of me. I'd love to have help video editing. Thank you so much for everyone watching. And again, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you and have a fantastic